Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson. Today we're going to talk about castration. We're going to talk about different techniques, different things that you can employ depending on the age and the size of the cattle and the equipment that you have. It's going to be a great show. Stick around.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson here at Kansas State University. Today we're going to talk about something that's done every day in the beef industry, castration. Now, the reasons why we castrate are, one, to improve the temperament of our animals. Bulls are more aggressive than steers, and it's easier on equipment when we're working at feed yards, and it's easier on people when we're working cattle. The other reason is that we don't have bulls and heifers in the feedlot together. So it decreases the amount of fence crossing and things to that nature when we're trying to feed out cattle. The last reason, and probably one that needs to have more investigation, is the difference in meat tenderness or beef tenderness. Some people think that there's a distinct difference between bull-raised meat versus steer-raised beef, and it's some of those things: culture, behavior, consumer preference, all the above are reasons why we castrate. Now, when should we castrate? I tell the students here, the longer the testicles are attached to the calf, the more attached the calf is to the testicles. We need to castrate the bulls as young as possible. A lot of people will leave these bulls intact to weaning thinking that they're going to get added performance. And research from Arkansas, Florida, Kansas State, and beyond just shows that that isn't true. For bulls to have added performance for being left intact, with testicles intact, they need to be producing testosterone. Bulls don't produce testosterone until they hit 7 to 10 months or 8 to 10 months of age. We wean bulls at 6 to 7 months, or wean calves at 6 to 7 months. So the studies that we've seen at the different universities I mentioned, we do not see an added advantage of bulls versus calves that are castrated during the first week of life on performance or weaning weights. So at this point in time, we don't see added performance, but I can assure you this, that if we leave those animals intact and we send them to the feed yard, when I receive those calves as bulls at the feed yard rather than steers, we'll have 150 to 300% the morbidity and mortality or death loss, and that's the reason why those animals are discounted so heavily when they go into the sale barn. Now, when we walk out there to a baby calf, after it's had colostrum, give it 6 to 12, maybe a day to get colostrum. We go out there to tag baby calves. While we're out there to tag baby calves, it's the easiest time to castrate those little guys. This is an elastrator, okay? And with an elastrator, to use this and castrate calves at that point in time up to a week of age, it is as simple as you have to be able to count to 2, because you have to have both testicles on the downward side of this elastrator. But it's as simple as buying this apparatus with the elastrator band. If this is the scrotum with the 2 testicles, you're just going to take that elastrator band, make sure that both testicles are on the outside of that band, and then you remove the apparatus, and in about 2 weeks, the scrotum and testicles fall off those calves. It's a very low stress time to castrate these calves and a very easy method to get it done. And then when it comes time for branding or it comes time at weaning, we're already done castrating. So we're going to take a break now. When we come back, we'll move on to the next segment of castrating. What we're going to do with those calves when they hit 3 to 4 months of age, right before turnout. You're watching DocTalk. We'll be back after this message.
No matter where, no matter why, The Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
Healthy cows start with the new hired hand automatic livestock sprayer. Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher, leaving more time to tend to other vital tasks on the farm. To learn more, visit cowsprayer.com. The new hired hand makes healthy cows easy.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson. We're here to squeeze shoot, and we're here with some equipment. And now we're going to talk about what we're going to do when these calves get a little bit older. We can surgically castrate or we can band these calves, and we're going to either use them in a chute, or we're going to rope and drag those calves to a fire, or we might use a calf table, or maybe a little bit of both, depending on the method. But when we look at some of these different methods, there's different approaches to castration. And one approach is to come in from the side, obviously, where I can open up both side gates, and I can make an approach this way. The other approach is I can come back through the palpation cage and actually position myself directly behind the calf. If I'm going to use this approach or the palpation cage approach, you want to make sure you have someone tailing that calf. And when I mean tailing it, it's not just holding the tail out of the way so that it doesn't flop in their face while they're castrating. It is to bring that tail straight up over the back and apply pressure, and it will actually help prevent the calf from kicking. Enough pressure on that area of those sacral nerves and in that sacral region of the tail head will actually cause a slight bit of a paralysis so that those calves won't kick the person that's performing the castration. The other approach that I will make is I will actually drop the bottom of the chute, and I can drop this bottom of the chute, and when I do that, what we'll use is a shepherd's crook. And with the shepherd's crook, we'll come in and we'll actually use that crook, dally off against this, and we'll just bring the back leg straight back so that the animal is standing on the leg opposite me here in the chute. And then I will do a side approach to castration, which is kind of nice about it, because if you think about it, I have the one leg stretched back and they can't leave the ground on the other, so getting kicked is preventable in that manner as well. So a couple of different approaches to that. Now, when we castrate the calf, the first thing that we have to do is we have to open the scrotum. And there are different tools that you can use to open the scrotum. This is a Newberry knife, okay? You can purchase these at the Orslins. You can purchase them from the veterinary supply companies. Your veterinarian can probably order you one. And mentioning the veterinarian, one thing you probably ought to do before you decide on a castration technique, talk to your local veterinarian. What type of method does he or she use? How do they like to open the scrotum? How do they like to remove the testicles? What are we going to do if the animal bleeds? Many different situations like that. But this is a Newberry knife, and the two ways that we open up the scrotum, one is with the Newberry knife, where you pull the scrotum down and you come in from the side of the scrotum just like you would. You can practice on an old sock if you want before you go out. And you just clamp it shut like this, and you pull down, and it'll open up to where both testicles are exposed. The other one is I'll use a scalpel or a knife, and especially on the side approach, I'll use a knife. When we come back from the break, I'll show you a little bit more about what we do with a knife for opening up those scrotums, and one way you can do to prevent from poking the calf with a pointed tip. You're watching DocTalk. Thanks for joining us.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for that grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer and work with you.
Did you know long-range planning through the checkoff can help keep your business profitable? To successfully pass on cattle operations from one generation to the next, it's important to promote beef and keep farms and ranches profitable. Your beef checkoff helps do that.
We are Mike and
Martha
Armitage here at the A-Bar Ranch, Claremore, Oklahoma. We have a cow-calf production company, and we also have a marketing company. We have entertained groups brought to us by the Beef Checkoff, such as South Korean media that covered our operation and brought the good news back to South Korea.
That was a really neat experience, and that we got to have young people from another country that we got to experience a lot of different things in their culture, but got to share our culture too.
We live on the Squaw Creek Ranch. Here is a division of the A-Bar Ranch.
As a wife and a mother, and also with my background in more of a health field, I look at just the nutritional value, and it's great that the Beef Checkoff offers that kind of information to the consumers that are out there.
We both are proud to come from agricultural, more specifically ranching backgrounds.
My dad is a part of the Beef Checkoff board, and so the Beef Checkoff has been something that we promote and that we support what it has to offer.
Not everybody who's in agriculture is tech savvy on Facebook and through social media. Most people in the city happen to be, and they are very disconnected from our day-to-day routines, and that's one thing that makes me proud of the Beef Checkoff, them going to bat for us, from those who aren't necessarily anti-ag, but just simply don't know and they aren't getting the information.
As producers, we're strong supporters of that, and hope that many of you out there realize all of the different things that the Beef Checkoff brings to the table for us as producers.
Roxanne Struve, veterinarian in Western Iowa. I have a veterinary clinic and started doing stem cell therapy on dogs in August of 2014. And after the first 2 dogs, after 3 weeks, I saw such dramatic results. I said, hey, I have arthritis. I have joints, really need this help. Where can I go to get this done? I had stem cell therapy done in November of 2014 on my finger joints, my hip, and the ball of my left foot, all of which I'd had real severe problems with. Saw a pretty dramatic improvement in a short amount of time. I would certainly recommend that somebody don't wait until I'm in the position that I was in with the damage already done to my joints. I encourage veterinarians to use it for their animals, and I encourage anybody who sees this video, if you have need, get in contact with these people, because this is a phenomenal place to have this done.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Hey, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson here. We're talking about castration of beef calves. I just showed you the Newberry knife that we can utilize, and we have some pictures of how that can work. The other one is when I come in from the side approach, if you're going to cut the bottom of the scrotum off or use a knife, what I generally do is I will cut the bottom half to the bottom third of the scrotum completely off. Just cut it across the bottom like a little hat. But if I'm making a side approach, one of the things is that these knives can be pretty sharp at the point. So I'll actually take these knives into a grinder and I'll grind and round this tip off so that I can't poke the calf in the leg when I'm reaching through and cutting that bottom of the scrotum. If you want to have an easier way to get to the bottom of that scrotum, I use a pair of pliers or a pair of forceps, grab the bottom of the scrotum and then just twist, and it'll ascend those testicles, and then you just cut across the top. Both testicles will drop out the bottom, and we can make our castration techniques at that point in time. So once we have them exposed, we need to remove those testicles. And the testicles, the way that we can remove them is to use an emasculator, or if the calves are small enough, you can just pull them off. And by pulling them off, one of the things that you have to remember is that the cremaster muscle is what is the thick casing around the testicle. We need to break that testicle, that cremaster muscle down. Once we break that cremaster muscle down, then we can start to provide traction on that testicle. Lightweight calves, those 200 pounders, 300 pounders, we can pull those testicles, they'll break off. We want to provide traction as we move forward. The other one is to use this emasculator. And the emasculator has a side that crushes on the top, or sorry, crushes on the top and cuts on the bottom. We always position the emasculator nut to nut. So if I go in there to approach this to a calf, I'm going to put the emasculator around that tunic cord, and I'm going to crush with the nut on this emasculator being positioned towards the testicle on the calf. I'm going to hold that for a 4, 5, 6 count until it provides the crushing mechanism and cutting, and then I'll release, and then I'll repeat that on the second testicle. But those are both different methods that we can open up the scrotum, remove the testicles, and move on. An old-fashioned technique that is not used as much anymore on some of the larger testicles and used on some of the smaller testicles is called what we call clamping calves, or the Burdizzo method. And this is actually clamped onto the scrotum without opening up the scrotum, clamped onto the top of the tunic, where we actually are going to move that and break that tunic cord down. And in that method, it's not going to be any problem at all. But again, it's sometimes been associated with not actually having the adequate castration, and we wind up with some animals that are still left intact when we get done. Not used as much, but it might be a technique we'll use in the future. When we come back, we're going to cover the banding technique and wrap up on castration. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll be back with DocTalk after these messages.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Hi, Hi, I'm Kim Mandarin with Hardy Insurance. I'm here to help you with all of your farm and ranch needs. When it comes to protecting your operation and your family, you need a name you can trust at a price you can afford. Call me today or visit hardyaviationins.com.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan here. Thanks for joining us for our Cattle First Minute as sponsored by Behringer Ingelheim Vet Medica. And you know, today's Cattle First is talking about how to run a squeeze chute. And a lot of times when we run a squeeze chute, it's raise the tailgate, drop the tailgate on the head of the one behind, let the calf run through and ricochet off the front of the chute. And there are just some things that we can do to decrease injuries in the chute of the cattle. Make sure that we use the sides effectively to catch. If you have a hydraulic chute, that we use the sides. Make sure that we have the hydraulics not set too high, okay? We want it to be at that 650 to 800 PSI on the hydraulics. But being careful that we don't miscatch a calf by its temples and not adjust it, or if you catch one by the hips and you're out there with the tagging gun in one hand and the syringe in the other doing the cha-cha trying to get it vaccinated, it's best to just turn that calf loose so neither you nor the calf get hurt.
We do business with Blueville because of the quality of their work. It is excellent quality, and because they make a commitment to their customers.
We enjoy the benefits of hiring a good company to help us maintain this home.
We will always do business with Blueville. We have for many, many years, and there's no reason for us to look for any other service.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook or Twitter.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson. We're talking about castration today, and some people say, well, why don't you just castrate a calf here on TV, Doc? Well, there are some certain different guidelines that we have to abide by, not only with television, but also the university, and sometimes the calves aren't as cooperative either. So today we're going to show you some of the equipment. We have pictures, obviously, that you've seen throughout the show that go with it in video clips, but no live animal procedures. We'll have that little disclaimer at the end. No animals were harmed during the filming of this show. But anyway, only saved. Now, this is a calicrate bander, and this is another technique that you can use on weaned calves, that we use on bigger calves and bigger cattle. And you take this band right here, this high tensile rubber band, and you place it in the apparatus as such. And we'll open this up, and you can slide that metal clamp back to the point where it fits in that apparatus. And then this portion just goes around the scrotum and the testicles. And it has, again, you have to count two testicles, 1, 2. And we get that above. Once that's above, this little gizmo is loaded in here. It's really, really ingenious, invented in Kansas by Mike Calicrate. This little gizmo is loaded in here as such, and then there's a ratchet that you can see that is going to actually bring that tension back, and it tightens that rubber band back until it is around that head of that scrotum, around the top of those testicles. Right here is a little tension monitor that once that tension monitor gets to the right spot, you have enough tension to adequately perform the castration without breaking the band. So that's important to watch. Once that's done, you just simply take this apparatus like such, and you just push it down. And this pushing down crimps the little metal clamp that's inside here. We then just take a tagging knife, and we just cut across, and that will snap this into place on the steer. Okay? I'll show you that little metal clamp real quick if I can get this off. You can see that that is the metal clamp, and that is just then applied. So once you castrate, then you cut that and you turn the calves out. Once we castrate those calves, it'll take 21 to 28 days for the scrotum and testicles to necrose off the body. So we've talked about castrate the calves as early as possible, within the first week of birth. Castrate them at branding, different ways to open the scrotum, different ways to remove those testicles, and then when they get bigger, let's use a bander. Always work with your veterinarian. If you want to know more about what we do here at DocTalk, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson. Thanks for joining us today, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.